Have you ever wondered why suffering follows us even when life seems good? You can win, achieve, love, and still feel a hidden emptiness. Peace is not the absence of problems, but the absence of suffering. What if suffering is not what life does to you, but what the mind creates within you? Today, we'll uncover the secrets the Buddha revealed to end suffering, and at the end, a powerful bonus lesson awaits you. Before we begin, subscribe to Deep Wisdom, where every video is a doorway to calm, clarity, and timeless Buddhist insight you won't find anywhere else. Let's begin. 1. Name the wound clearly. What if the greatest cause of your suffering is not the pain itself, but your refusal to name it? Silence can feel like protection, but often it becomes a prison. As the teaching goes, what is hidden in silence grows louder within. Think of a splinter buried deep beneath the skin. When ignored, it festers, infects, and becomes a source of greater agony. But when you acknowledge it, when you bring it into the light, healing begins. This is the first truth of suffering, to face it directly. Many of us live in denial, covering our wounds with distractions, work, entertainment, or even forced positivity. Yet each layer of avoidance only deepens the ache within. The Buddha taught that suffering becomes heavier when it is resisted, but lighter when it is seen clearly. Ask yourself gently, what unspoken wound do I carry? Do I hide my suffering behind endless busyness? Close your eyes for a moment. Breathe. Now, whisper softly the name of your suffering. It could be fear, loneliness, regret, or disappointment. Imagine placing it on your open palm, not to cling to it, not to hate it, but to simply see it as it is. You'll notice something subtle shift. The suffering, once hidden, feels lighter when acknowledged. Awareness is the first step toward freedom. To name your suffering is not weakness, it is courage. It is to stand before your shadow without trembling. When you say, I face my pain with gentle courage, I see my suffering clearly, without judgment, you are practicing liberation in its purest form. You are no longer running from the fire. You are learning to step out of the flames. In our modern lives, we mistake ignoring pain for strength. We push through, we pretend, we mask. But the unresolved wound still whispers beneath the noise, and the whisper, left unattended, grows louder until it shouts. This is why many who appear strong on the outside feel broken within. True resilience is not found in suppressing, but in seeing with clarity. There is a quiet freedom that arises when you no longer fear naming your wound. Nothing outside can disturb the inner peace of one who has made peace with their inner storms. When you stop pretending, you stop suffering. The wound is not your enemy, it is your teacher. It shows you where you have yet to let go, where you must shine the light of awareness. So ask yourself, what changes when I finally face it? What would my life feel like if I no longer ran from my sorrow, but welcomed it as part of my path? The answer is not far. It lives within your willingness to see, to name, and to release. Suffering ends the moment you stop clinging to the fire that burns you. And in that release, you discover the unshakable truth. When you stop suffering, nothing can disturb your inner peace. 2. The trap of endless grasping. Why do we suffer more from wanting than from lacking? The mind convinces us that peace will arrive only when we grasp harder, cling tighter, and hold on to every desire. Yet, the truth is simpler and more humbling. The hand that clings cannot hold peace. Picture yourself trying to catch water with clenched fists. The tighter your grip, the less remains. This is the silent trap of endless grasping. We believe that holding on to people, possessions, or outcomes will secure happiness. Instead, it drains us, leaving the heart restless, thirsty, never satisfied. The Buddha reminded us that attachment is the root of suffering, not because love or joy are wrong, but because the grasping itself binds us to fear of loss. Take a quiet breath and imagine holding fine sand in your palm. When your hand is tight, the grains escape through your fingers. But when you gently open your hand, the sand settles peacefully, resting without effort. This is the way of inner peace. Open hands, open heart. What am I clinging to that exhausts me? Does holding on bring me peace, or does it bring me fear? Perhaps it is a relationship you try desperately to control, or a future you demand to unfold in only one way, or an identity you are afraid to lose. These attachments are not wrong in themselves, but when you tie your worth to them, you make yourself a prisoner of shifting tides. Freedom comes when you whisper, "I release what was never mine to own. My worth is not measured by what I hold." Freedom grows in open hands. In that release, you discover a profound truth. Life was never asking you to cling, but to trust. Trust that what is meant for you will stay, and what leaves was never yours to carry. Modern life feeds this hunger to grasp, constant comparison, endless desires, and the illusion that happiness lies just one step ahead. One promotion, one purchase, one more approval. But how many times have you reached that goal only to feel the thirst return? It is because the mind, addicted to grasping, never truly rests. So, pause and reflect. What if I chose to loosen, not tighten? What if I trusted that peace is already here, waiting in the open space of my being? The moment you let go, you stop suffering. The chains fall away, and a new spaciousness fills your heart. Remember this truth. You do not lose by loosening your grip. You only lose the illusion of control. And what remains is far greater: serenity, balance, freedom. For when you stop grasping, nothing outside of you can disturb the stillness within. This is where suffering ends and true peace begins. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I am free within." 3. Stop negotiating with illusions. How much of our suffering comes from bargaining with reality itself? We cling to expectations, argue with circumstances, and plead with life to unfold according to our script. Yet no matter how loud our inner resistance, the truth remains unmoved. Reality does not bend, it only reveals. Imagine standing before a river, demanding it flow backward. You can shout, you can beg, you can fight against the current, but the river continues in its natural course. In the same way, when we resist what is, we create unnecessary turmoil. The river is not the cause of our suffering. Our refusal to accept its flow is. Every day, many of us negotiate with illusions. We say, "I'll be at peace when things go my way. I'll be happy once this problem disappears. I'll feel whole only if the past changes." Yet none of these bargains can ever be fulfilled. Life does not submit to our terms, and so we suffer, not because reality is cruel, but because we refuse to see it clearly. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine yourself by a stream, watching the water move freely. Instead of trying to stop it, you sit quietly by its side. You notice its rhythm, its sound, its effortless way of being. This is surrender, not defeat, but wisdom. To say, "I surrender my struggle against what is." Peace comes when I stop resisting truth. The river of life flows as it must. Ask yourself gently, where do I demand life to be different? What am I refusing to accept today? How would surrender feel in my body? Often, we hold tension in our chest, our jaw, our thoughts, believing that resistance will protect us. But the opposite is true. Resistance multiplies suffering. Acceptance softens it. This does not mean we become passive or indifferent. Acceptance is not giving up. It is seeing clearly. Only when we stop fighting reality can we act from clarity, strength, and wisdom. The Buddha taught that freedom comes not from escaping life, but from no longer being chained to it. Consider this. When a storm comes, the tree that resists snaps, but the tree that bends survives. In the same way, your spirit does not break when you release the illusion of control. It becomes flexible, unshakable, at peace. So reflect deeply. What would my life feel like if I stopped negotiating with illusions and started trusting the flow? The answer is a profound silence within. In that silence, suffering dissolves. When you stop resisting, you stop suffering. And in that surrender, you uncover a truth that nothing can disturb. Your inner peace flows like the river itself, steady, unstoppable, eternal. 4. Detach without abandoning life. Is detachment coldness, or is it in fact the deepest form of love? We often confuse letting go with abandoning, but true detachment is not rejection. It is a higher form of care. The Buddha taught us that suffering grows when love becomes possession, but freedom blossoms when love is spacious. To hold lightly is to love fully. Think of a bird resting gently on your shoulder. Its presence is beautiful, delicate, and precious. But the bird is free. It may fly away at any moment. If you try to trap it, you lose its song, its grace, its spirit. In the same way, when you cling too tightly to people, moments, or even dreams, you suffocate them. But when you allow them to be free, love breathes and connection deepens. Close your eyes and picture releasing a balloon into the sky. You don't lose it. It rises, dancing upward, still visible, still beautiful against the light. This is what healthy detachment feels like. It is not abandonment, it is trust. Trust that what is true will remain, and what departs was never yours to imprison. Say to yourself gently, I can care deeply without clinging. Love grows stronger in freedom. My joy does not depend on possession. These are not mere affirmations, they are doorways to peace. For when you release control, you no longer live in constant fear of loss. Instead, you discover the joy of love unchained. Reflect for a moment. Do I confuse attachment with love? What relationships do I hold too tightly? How would freedom transform my love? Often, we hold too tightly not out of love, but out of fear. Fear of being alone, fear of change, fear of impermanence. But detachment is the antidote. It replaces fear with trust, desperation with grace. In our modern world, many equate love with ownership. We cling to labels, titles, and expectations. But love is not ownership. It is presence. It is not about keeping someone or something forever. It is about meeting them fully in this moment. Detachment is the courage to love without chains, to care without control. True detachment is not indifference. It does not mean walking away or numbing the heart. It means standing fully present, offering your care freely without demand. It means loving so deeply that you can let life flow in its natural rhythm without grasping. This is the love that liberates both you and the other. So ask yourself, what would it feel like to hold my relationships with open hands, not clenched fists? What kind of peace would enter my life if I loved without fear of loss? The answer is profound. You will find that when you stop confusing attachment with love, suffering dissolves. Nothing can disturb your inner peace because you finally understand. Love does not require chains. To hold lightly is to love fully, and in that freedom, your heart becomes vast, unshakable, and serene. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I am free within." 5. See the stories the mind creates. If pain is real, is suffering only the echo of our thoughts? So often, the mind does not simply feel pain. It multiplies it, weaving endless stories around it. The mind paints storms on clear skies. A single difficult moment becomes 1,000 imagined fears, each replayed, each exaggerated, until peace feels impossible. Think of clouds drifting across the sky. At first glance, they seem heavy, dark, and permanent. Yet when touched by light, they dissolve into nothingness. Our thoughts are the same. They appear overwhelming, but when seen clearly, they lose their weight. What creates suffering is not the raw experience of life, but the storm the mind paints over it. Consider how often you replay old wounds. A word spoken years ago, a mistake made once, an event you cannot change. The body feels it again, though the moment has long passed. You live not in the present, but in the story your mind has written about it. This is the prison of thought, the cycle of suffering. But you are not every thought you think. You are not the endless story maker. Whisper this truth within yourself. I am not every thought I think. I see the difference between truth and story. My mind can be a temple, not a prison. These words open the door to liberation. Close your eyes and imagine watching your thoughts as passing clouds. Some are light and harmless. Others are dark and stormy. Yet none of them belong to you. They pass on their own if only you allow them. You need not chase them nor believe them. You can simply witness silently, calmly, with compassion. Ask yourself gently, what painful story do I replay most often? Who would I be without this story? Can I witness my mind without judgment? These questions do not require immediate answers. They are seeds planted within you, seeds that will blossom into clarity over time. Modern life fuels the habit of storytelling. We compare ourselves. We imagine futures that terrify us. We relive pasts that wound us. And yet, when you pause, you realize most of your suffering is not happening in the world, but in your mind. The storm is painted, not real. When you see this truth, a great stillness arises. You stop believing every voice in your head. You become the witness, not the prisoner. And in that witnessing, suffering begins to dissolve. Peace is not found in controlling every thought, but in realizing you are more than thought itself. When you stop clinging to the storms of the mind, you discover the calm sky beneath. Nothing can disturb that sky. Nothing can disturb your inner peace. 6. Freedom from the illusion of control. How much suffering is born from believing we can command the uncontrollable? The mind whispers that if only we plan enough, hold tight enough, or demand strongly enough, life will bend to our will. But reality has its own rhythm, untouched by our grasping. The more you try to cage the wind, the more it escapes. Imagine standing at the shore, trying to hold back the tide with your hands. No matter how determined, the waves slip through, rising and falling according to their nature. Life is no different. The illusion of control may bring temporary comfort, but in truth, it leaves us exhausted, battling currents we cannot command. Each time we insist on certainty, each time we demand outcomes, we create new chains of fear. The tighter we hold, the more fragile we feel. For peace built on control is not peace. It is anxiety disguised as security. Ask yourself gently, where am I trying to control the uncontrollable? Does control bring me peace, or does it bring me fear? Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine opening your hands into the wind. Feel the breeze pass through freely, cool, alive, beyond your grasp. And yet, in that letting go, notice the calm that arises. You do not need to capture the wind to enjoy its presence. In the same way, you do not need to command life to experience peace. Whisper to yourself, I release what I cannot control. My peace does not depend on outcomes. I trust the flow of life. These are not words of resignation. They are words of liberation. For the moment you release the illusion of control, you free yourself from the suffering it creates. In relationships, careers, health, and even the passing of time, we often struggle against the inevitable. We demand permanence where impermanence rules. We chase certainty where uncertainty is the law. And in this battle, we lose the very serenity we seek. The Buddha taught that freedom is not found in bending life to our will, but in bending our hearts toward acceptance. Reflect deeply. What would happen if I let life lead? What if I trusted that the current carries me where I need to go? At first, the mind resists, afraid of surrender. But slowly, surrender reveals itself not as weakness, but as strength. The tree that bends with the storm survives. The one that refuses to bend breaks. True freedom is not control, it is trust. When you release the need to command life, you discover a peace that cannot be shaken by outcomes. And in that peace, you realize the truth. When you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, suffering dissolves, and nothing can disturb your inner calm. 7. Walk lightly with desire. Can desire exist without becoming suffering? This question touches the very heart of human life. Desire in itself is not the enemy, it is a flame. Desire is a flame, gentle warmth or consuming fire. It can guide us through darkness, giving us purpose and inspiration. But when held without care, the same flame that lights our way can burn us, leaving nothing but ashes of longing and regret. Imagine walking through the night carrying a lantern. Its glow shows the path, keeping away fear and uncertainty. But if you clutch it carelessly, the flame may leap, consuming what it touches. Desire works the same way. It can illuminate or destroy, depending on the way we hold it. The Buddha did not teach us to fear desire, but to walk lightly with it, to see clearly which desires uplift us and which ones chain us. Ask yourself, which of my desires uplift me? Which ones chain me in suffering? How can I choose flame without fire? These reflections reveal the difference between wholesome longing and destructive craving. Close your eyes and imagine holding a candle. Feel the warmth in your hands, steady and gentle. It gives light without burning, comfort without harm. Whisper within yourself, my desires are gentle, not enslaving. I choose what nourishes, not consumes me. I walk with clarity, not craving. These are the words of one who has befriended desire without being bound by it. Modern life fuels endless cravings, possessions, recognition, constant stimulation. Yet even when fulfilled, these desires rarely bring peace. Instead, they create more hunger, like drinking salty water that deepens thirst. True peace comes not from extinguishing every flame, but from carrying the lantern with wisdom, knowing which light guides and which fire destroys. Consider the desires that nourish you, the wish to grow in wisdom, to act with compassion, to cultivate stillness of mind. These are flames that warm, not burn. Then consider the desires that leave you restless: endless comparison, greed for more, fear of missing out. These flames scorch the heart until all that remains is suffering. The art of walking lightly with desire is not about renouncing life, but about clarity. It is the ability to hold desire without being consumed, to let it guide without letting it enslave. Just as you would carry a lantern carefully, you learn to walk with awareness, each step intentional, each choice mindful. So ask yourself now, what if I held my desires gently, allowing only those that serve my peace? What kind of freedom would arise if I stopped chasing flames that burn? In that reflection, you will see the path clearly. When you stop letting desire become fire, nothing outside can disturb your inner calm. The flame becomes your companion, not your master. And in its gentle glow, you find a peace that cannot be shaken. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I am free within." 8. Accept pain without becoming it. Is pain the enemy, or is it the teacher? Too often, we fear pain, resist it, and run from it. Yet in truth, pain itself is not our greatest burden. As the teaching reminds us, pain is a visitor. Suffering is when we let it stay. Pain comes and goes, like the weather. But when we identify with it, when we allow it to become who we are, we turn a passing storm into a permanent prison. Think of a storm watering the soil. In the moment, the sky darkens, the winds howl, and the rain pours heavily. Yet when it passes, the ground is nourished, seeds begin to grow, and new life emerges. Pain in your life works the same way. It arrives with intensity, but it carries hidden gifts. It softens the heart, deepens understanding, and awakens compassion. Imagine sitting under the rain, knowing with certainty that the sun will rise again. This is the practice of accepting pain without becoming it. Pain is part of the human path, but it does not have to be your identity. Whisper gently to yourself, "I welcome pain as a teacher, not a jailer. My suffering does not define me. Every pain I face is impermanent." These words turn storms into lessons. Ask yourself, do I run from pain or learn from it? How has pain shaped my growth? What storm have I survived that made me stronger? When you reflect on your life, you'll see that some of your deepest wisdom was born from moments of great struggle. The wound you feared may have become the opening that led to your awakening. Modern life teaches us to numb pain through distractions, through constant noise, through endless chasing. But ignoring pain only buries it deeper. Acceptance, however, allows transformation. To sit with pain without judgment is to recognize its impermanence. It cannot last forever. No storm does. Pain is not your enemy. It is a messenger. It says, "Here is where your growth awaits. Here is where you must open your heart. Here is where you are called to let go." When you listen instead of resist, you find freedom even within difficulty. The Buddha taught that while pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. This is the great difference. Pain belongs to the body and the moment, but suffering belongs to the mind that clings. By seeing pain as a visitor, you keep your spirit light, unbound, and free. So hold this truth close. When pain comes, meet it with compassion. Allow it to stay just long enough to teach you, and then let it pass like rain, returning to the earth. When you accept pain without becoming it, suffering dissolves, and nothing can disturb your inner peace. 9. Silence the noise within. Can peace exist if the mind never rests? We live surrounded by noise, yet the loudest clamor is not outside, but within. The endless chatter of thought, the replaying of memories, the rehearsing of fears. And as the old wisdom says, a noisy mind cannot hear truth. Imagine a lake rippling restlessly in the wind. Its surface is broken, distorted, unable to reflect the sky above. But when the winds calm, the water becomes still, and suddenly the heavens are revealed in its mirror. Your mind is the same. When restless, truth is hidden. When quiet, peace appears effortlessly. So many suffer because they mistake their thoughts for reality. The mind whispers doubts, fears, and judgments, and they believe every word. But thoughts are only ripples on the surface. Beneath them lies a deeper stillness, untouched and eternal. Ask yourself, when did I last sit in true silence? What fears hide beneath my noise? How would my life change with daily stillness? Close your eyes now and imagine your mind as a lake. Each breath you take smooths its surface. The turbulence quiets, the waters clear. And in that reflection, you see yourself, not the stories, not the noise, but the quiet presence that has always been here. Whisper within, my silence is my strength. In stillness, I meet myself. My peace grows as my thoughts quiet. This silence is not emptiness, it is fullness. It is the space where clarity, love, and wisdom arise. Just as music depends on pauses between notes, life depends on stillness between thoughts. Without it, you cannot hear the song of your own being. In modern times, distraction has become constant. We fill every pause with noise, screens, voices, endless tasks. Yet the more we avoid silence, the more we fear it. And the more we fear it, the further we drift from ourselves. But when you sit quietly, even for a few moments each day, the fear dissolves and peace gently returns. Silence is not withdrawal from life, it is awakening to life. It sharpens perception, calms the heart, and restores balance. From stillness, you make wiser choices. From stillness, you discover freedom from the tyranny of restless thoughts. The Buddha taught that peace is not created, it is uncovered. It has always been there, beneath the noise, waiting for you to remember. The mind may ripple, but the stillness remains. So carry this with you. When your mind grows noisy, return to silence. Breathe, listen. Allow the lake within to settle. For when you silence the noise within, suffering fades and nothing can disturb your inner peace. 10. Live as if nothing is missing. What if the end of suffering is not found in gain, but in realizing that nothing is lacking? So often, we chase, we strive, we accumulate, believing that fulfillment waits in the next achievement, the next possession, the next approval. Yet the deepest truth remains. Wholeness is not achieved, it is remembered. Consider the full moon hidden behind clouds. Though obscured from sight, it is always whole, always radiant. Life, too, is complete in its essence, even when our mind believes otherwise. Our sense of lack is a veil, a misunderstanding that clouds the awareness of what is already present. Close your eyes and imagine yourself as the moon, unchanging, luminous, whole in every moment. The light you carry is not borrowed, nor dependent on circumstance. Whisper gently to yourself, I am complete in this very moment. Nothing outside me can add to my being. Peace is already here, waiting. These words are not wishes, they are reminders of your true nature. Ask yourself, what do I keep chasing, believing it will complete me? When have I felt complete without gaining anything? What if nothing has ever been missing? Reflection on these questions reveals the subtle illusions that fuel desire, dissatisfaction, and suffering. The mind may try to tell you that something is missing, but the heart quietly knows the truth. In our daily lives, we measure worth by what we possess, who acknowledges us, and how circumstances align. Yet these are fleeting markers, shifting with time and chance. True peace, true fullness, does not come from accumulation. It comes from recognition. Recognition that life itself, in this present moment, is already enough. Imagine for a moment the countless blessings often overlooked. Breath, the warmth of sunlight, the rhythm of your heartbeat, the quiet moments of reflection. All of these are complete in themselves. By seeking elsewhere, we overlook the vast wholeness already within. Living as if nothing is missing is not passive. It is active recognition, a conscious choice to inhabit the present fully. It does not deny growth or aspiration, but it frees you from the chains of relentless craving. When you stop measuring yourself against absence, the mind softens and the heart opens. So reflect deeply. What if nothing has ever been missing? What if the peace I seek is already here, waiting quietly within? The answer is a profound stillness, a knowing that your life, as it is, holds all that you truly need. When you live as if nothing is missing, suffering ceases. The illusions of lack dissolve, and you awaken to a completeness that cannot be shaken. Like the full moon hidden briefly by clouds, your wholeness has always been present, radiant and unbroken. Nothing outside you can disturb it. Nothing can disturb your inner peace. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I am free within." 11. Choose compassion over resistance. Does resisting others' pain add to our own? When we push away suffering, our own or another's, we build walls that harden the heart and weigh down the spirit. Yet when we soften, when we allow empathy to flow, a subtle transformation begins. As the teaching says, compassion softens the weight of every wound. Imagine a soft cloth absorbing water. It bends, it yields, yet it does not break. In the same way, the heart that receives the pain of the world with gentle understanding does not shatter. It grows stronger, wider, and more luminous. Resistance is heavy, but compassion is light. It transforms heaviness into warmth, isolation into connection. Close your eyes and picture your heart as a lantern glowing softly. Its light radiates outward, touching those around you. Each act of kindness, each gentle thought, extends this glow. Compassion does not diminish you, it frees you. By embracing the suffering of others, you release bitterness, resentment, and the silent burdens that constrict your inner peace. Whisper softly, "I soften my heart toward all beings." Compassion frees me from bitterness. Love transforms suffering into connection. Ask yourself, do I resist or embrace the pain of others? How can compassion lighten my suffering today? What if my kindness is the medicine I need? These reflections reveal the subtle choices that either bind us or release us from suffering. In resisting, we carry the weight unnecessarily. In compassion, we participate in the healing of life itself. In daily life, the opportunity to practice compassion often appears in small, ordinary moments. A word of patience to a colleague, a listening ear to a friend, a silent prayer for someone in distress. These acts may seem insignificant, yet they ripple outward, softening the world and your heart along with it. Modern life teaches competition, judgment, and self-interest. We are conditioned to protect ourselves by erecting walls. Yet every wall we build around our heart also imprisons our peace. Compassion, on the other hand, breaks the barriers, creating space for understanding, for connection, and for serenity. When you choose compassion over resistance, suffering begins to loosen its grip. The anger that once simmered, the grief that once lingered, the frustration that once consumed, all find a gentle release in empathy and love. The heart opens, and in that opening, true freedom appears. So reflect deeply. What if my softness, my empathy, and my kindness are not liabilities, but sources of strength? What if the path to peace passes through love rather than resistance? The answer is simple yet profound. Your inner calm flourishes when your heart softens. When you embrace compassion over resistance, you discover a truth that cannot be shaken. The weight of suffering lightens, not just in others, but in yourself. Nothing outside can disturb your inner peace, because your heart has learned to flow freely, warm, and unbroken. Bonus lesson: the peace that cannot be disturbed. What happens when you stop suffering entirely? When peace becomes your unshakable ground? Most of us search for calm in fleeting moments, hoping that circumstances will finally align. Yet true peace is not given by the world, it is discovered within. The mountain does not move for the storm. Imagine a mountain standing tall amidst clouds and screaming winds. Rain lashes, thunder roars, yet the mountain does not tremble. Its roots run deep into the earth, its form steady and unmoved. The storms of life may gather around you, but when you anchor yourself in unshakable peace, nothing can disturb your inner calm. Suffering comes from resistance, from clinging to what cannot last, from identifying with the transient. But when you stop clinging, when you see life as it is, peace is no longer fragile. It becomes your ground, your home, your refuge. Ask yourself, what would life feel like if nothing disturbed my peace? Who am I when suffering no longer defines me? Close your eyes and visualize yourself as the mountain. Feel the earth beneath your feet, vast and steady. The wind may scream, clouds may gather, yet your inner being remains untouched, unshaken, eternal. Whisper softly, I am unshakable, like the mountain. My peace is untouchable by chaos. I live beyond suffering. These are not wishes. They are the recognition of a truth already present within you. Consider how often you let storms, arguments, setbacks, fear, or disappointment rattle your mind. These storms are temporary, yet we often mistake them for permanence. By rooting yourself in awareness, in clarity, and in compassion, you find the calm that endures beyond circumstance. The mountain does not fight the storm, it simply stands. So too can you, without resistance, without struggle. Modern life tempts us to chase external solutions to internal unrest. We measure happiness in achievements, possessions, and approval, forgetting that the true source of peace is already within. Suffering cannot touch the one who knows that calm is not dependent on circumstance, that the mind can rest like a mountain even in the chaos of the world. Imagine the freedom of waking each day knowing that no external event can unsettle you. Imagine facing challenges, loss, and change, yet remaining steady, rooted, and clear. This is the freedom of a life beyond suffering. It is not theoretical. It is available in the present if you choose to anchor yourself in stillness, awareness, and compassion. Ask gently, am I ready to become the mountain? To let life move around me while I remain steady within? The answer lies not in striving, but in presence, in letting go, in embracing the unshakable truth of who you are. When you stop suffering entirely, peace ceases to be fragile. It becomes a force, an inner sanctuary, a reality that no storm can touch. Like the mountain, you stand rooted, serene and eternal. Nothing outside can disturb your inner peace. Quick summary of the principles. Name the wound. Clearly, true healing begins with awareness. Suffering grows stronger when it is denied or hidden, but weakens when it is acknowledged. By naming the pain we carry, we take the first step toward liberation. The trap of endless grasping. Much of our suffering arises not from lack, but from endless wanting. The tighter we cling to people, outcomes, and possessions, the more fragile our peace becomes. Letting go opens the door to freedom. Stop negotiating with illusions. We suffer when we argue with reality, demanding it be different from what it is. Peace arises the moment we stop resisting truth and accept life as it unfolds. Detach without abandoning life. Detachment is not coldness. It is the ability to love fully without clinging. By holding lightly, we experience relationships, joys, and challenges with greater freedom and depth. See the stories the mind creates. Much of suffering is self-made, born not from events, but from the stories our mind attaches to them. Recognizing this difference allows us to step out of illusion and return to clarity. Freedom from the illusion of control. Trying to control everything is an endless source of pain. Freedom lies in releasing what is beyond our reach and resting in the trust that life unfolds in its own rhythm. Walk lightly with desire. Desire itself is not the enemy. It is attachment to it that enslaves us. When desire is guided with awareness, it becomes light. When left unchecked, it becomes fire. Accept pain without becoming it. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. By accepting pain as a temporary teacher rather than resisting it, we prevent it from becoming our identity. Silence the noise within. A restless mind magnifies suffering. Through silence and stillness, we discover the natural peace beneath the constant chatter and learn to rest in inner clarity. Live as if nothing is missing. Wholeness is not something to be achieved, but remembered. By realizing that nothing is lacking in this moment, we discover a deep contentment beyond striving. Choose compassion over resistance. Bitterness and resistance only deepen suffering. Compassion toward ourselves and others softens the heart, transforms pain, and turns wounds into connection. The peace that cannot be disturbed. When we stop creating suffering, inner peace becomes our natural state. It is a peace so deep that no storm, no person, no situation can shake it. Life does not demand that you escape pain. It asks that you stop turning pain into endless suffering. The Buddha's wisdom teaches that our greatest prison is not the world outside, but the clinging, craving, and resistance inside. When these chains fall, peace is not something you chase. It is something that rises naturally from within. Remember, suffering ends not when life becomes perfect, but when we awaken to the perfection of this very moment. True freedom comes when we no longer fear loss, when we no longer demand life to bow to our expectations. This is the art of inner peace, the kind that no person and no storm can ever disturb. Inspiring. Quote, "When you realize nothing is lacking, the whole world belongs to you." So carry this reflection with you. What would life look like if you chose peace over suffering today? If this message touched you, remember to like and share this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Deep Wisdom for more timeless Buddhist insights to live a peaceful, awakened life.